Alright, nerds, here we go. Alright, so what we're looking at here is our electrons. Okay, so we have our before and after. Okay, so first one we're looking at are two elements, sodium and chlorine. Alright, and from the periodic table, we have sodium, two numbers, 11, 22.9, which we're going to round to 23. Okay, so from here we figured out our protons are 11 and our neutrons are 12 because that adds up to 23. And there's no charge here. First side, the befores will never have a charge. Everything here, charge will be 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, which means your positives must equal your negatives. Okay, so that's how we know we have 11 electrons. First shell holds 2, 1, 2. Second shell, 2, 4, 6, 8. So we're up to 10 so far. Last one has 1. Because it has 1 at the very end there, this is an unhappy shell. Okay? It's at a very high state of energy, and we want to become more stable. We want to get rid of that so that sodium has 2 completely filled shells, and this third one's empty. So we need to find someone who wants to receive that electron. If we look over at chlorine, and this is why we want to use the periodic table one, we'll be able to, boom, find it right away. 17 protons, 17 electrons. Our mass is 35.4, so when rounded, that stays 35. Okay? 35 minus 17 is our 18. 17, 18, 17. Okay? First shell holds 2 electrons, 1, 2. Second shell holds 2, 4, 6, 8. Once again, first 2 shells always should contain 10, unless it's smaller than that. And we need 7 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Alright? Same thing, chlorine is unstable. The reason why, our third shell's not filled up. The easiest way to fill it up would be to get 1 more electron. Okay? So in our before picture, we have 17 and 17, 11 and 11. We're going to draw the arrow where this electron's going to want to go. By doing that, this third shell is now filled, and it's much more stable. Same thing over here. Sodium then has 2 filled shells, and it's much more stable. Okay, and that's what we drew on this side. Okay, so once we take this electron and moved it, it's now sitting right here. This is our after. Okay, over here we have 11 protons and 10 electrons because we moved the 1, making it have a +1 charge. Over here, we gained that electron. So we still have 17 protons, but we've now gained an electron, so we now have 18. Okay? If you haven't done so already, try doing number 1. Look up your protons and neutrons and figure out where all your electrons go. Do it for chlorine, and then where would your electron move to and from? Okay? Pause the video here if you have not done that. Yay, you did it. Now let's check. Okay? So the important part is, if you're just watching me do this, you don't know if you're doing it right. It's much more beneficial to get it wrong. Okay? So take your time and try it out. So over here we have 3 protons, 4 neutrons. We have 2 electrons in our first shell. We can fit 8, but we only need 1 because our 3 electrons. For chlorine, same up here. Okay? So she'll look kind of exactly the same. We got 2, we have 10, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And what's going to happen is no charges. Our electrons equal our protons. Over here, 17 protons, we have 17 electrons. What's going to want to happen is that electron's going to want to go right over there. Alright? And what we see then is lithium has 1 shell with our 2 electron. It's filled, it's nice and happy. Okay? But we do have 1 extra proton, so it has a charge of +1. Over here, we've gained that electron, so we have 17 protons, but we have 18 electrons, 1 extra negative, which means we have a charge of -1. Okay? Alright, let's take a look at number 2 at the bottom. We'll do this one together. Sodium, Na, 23 and 11. So if we take a look, we have, I already messed up, 2 in our first shell, 1, 2. Okay, and now we're going to move on to our second shell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're up to 10, and we need 1 more. 1 more electron. Let's take a look at fluorine. Fluorine is right here in our 7th column. We need 9 protons and 9 electrons. Mass is 19. 18.9 rounds up to 19. So, 10 neutrons, 9 protons. We have our 2, and then we need 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right. Same thing, we're missing 1 from this outer shell. Our sodium here will want to move. Okay. In doing so, we then only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We'll only have 10 electrons on this side. Protons and neutrons will never change. 11 and 12, 9 and 10. And over here, we have our 2. Always fill up your middle circle first. And then from there we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Second shell has 8 electrons. It's nice and happy. We have a filled shell. Okay. Our charge, we have more protons, so charge would be +1. Fluorine, we have our 2. Okay. And we've gained that electron. So on the outside we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, which means we have 10 electrons, only 9 protons, so we have a charge of -1. Okay, go ahead guys, do 3 on your own, and we're going to do 4 together. Okay, so 4, we're going to add something in here. We're missing 1 picture actually. Okay, so for lithium we've already done this one. Mass is 7. We have 3 protons, we have 4 neutrons. 1, 2, and then we have our third one here. Okay? Oxygen, 16 and 8. So we have 8 protons. 16 minus 8 is 8 neutrons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's our 8 electrons. Okay? And our charges are 0 and 0. Okay, we're going to draw another lithium in here. So move your paper over a little bit, and we're going to draw another one of these. So we're going to draw 3 protons, we're going to draw 4 neutrons, and in our first shell, we're going to draw 2 electrons, and then we're going to draw 1 electron. So now we have 2 lithium atoms. Charge is still 0. Okay, so over here, in order for oxygen to fill up this outer shell, it needs 2 electrons. Okay, so it's not going to bind with 1, but it's going to bind with 2. Where it's going to steal those from is from this lithium and also this lithium. Okay, so we're going to draw an arrow. This one's going to go here, and this electron's going to go here. All right, so if we move over, just because we have room, I'm going to draw my other lithium on this side. Protons is still 3, neutrons is still 4. Cannot have any nuclear explosions in the classroom. 8 and 8. Alright, and as we go, once we donated those 2 electrons, we now have 2 here. 1, 2. 3 positives, 2 negatives gives us a charge of +1. Okay, and the same thing's going on over here for our other lithium. +1. Now, if we fill in our oxygen, we have 1, 2, because you can only fill 2 electrons in that first shell. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? So we now have taken those other 2 electrons from each lithium. So we now have 10 electrons. We have 10 negatives. We only have 8 positives. Right now we have more electrons, and we have 2 more electrons, so we have a charge of -2. Okay, so we've now done numbers 1, 2, the example problem, also problem 4. Okay, the rest you shouldn't have to draw any more new ones. You should only have to use with what's on your paper. We're going to finish this, and then we're going to add this to our notebook. All right, happy chemistry. Yay!